Welcome my dear students of class 8A and 8B to my Civics class. The same lesson number 2, topic the Indian Executive, I am going to teach with the following points. Point number 1, role of the Prime Minister. 2, the Council of Ministers. 3, functions of the Council of Ministers. 4, role in foreign affairs. 5, permanent executives. So these are the 5 points I am going to teach you. Then the teaching of this lesson will be completed, and then from the very beginning of this lesson I would start analyzing other points which you could not properly understand. I would like to discuss, I would like to analyze, I would like to re-explain all the points you couldn't understand properly. Now first one, role of the Prime Minister. You know the Prime Minister is the real head of the country. As the real head of the country, the Prime Minister takes decision independently. But before taking independent decision, the Prime Minister consults his cabinet ministers, council of ministers. Council of ministers are the cabinet consults the council of ministers, according to which they communicates the thoughts of the council of ministers, their thinking, their thoughts, their ideas, and then Prime Minister finally takes the opinions of the cabinet ministers. But the decision of the Prime Minister is final. The Prime Minister takes decision independently. But one thing is that the Prime Minister constitutionally, the post Prime Minister constitutionally is the most important. The Prime Minister obtains the most important position in the country. And constitutionally, the post of the Prime Minister is very and most important. The Prime Minister serves as the link, as I discussed earlier, between himself and the President and the Council of Ministers. The Prime Minister, communicates all decisions taken by the Council of Ministers and the Legislature to the President. The Prime Minister allocates portfolios among the ministers and he coordinates, among various departments, various ministers through the Cabinet Secretariat. The Prime Minister represents India in high-level international meetings and also addresses the nation on issues of national importance. So these are the most important, role of the Prime Minister. The second point, the Council of Ministers. The role of the Council of Ministers. The Council of Ministers is the most powerful organ of the Indian Executive. It is headed by the Prime Minister and includes certain points. Number 1, ministers with cabinet rank means senior ministers, ministers of state and deputy ministers. These are the ministers. They are, collectively known as the Council of Ministers. Each minister is allotted one or more departments or portfolio, such as finance, railways, defense, health, and communication. The Council is collectively responsible to Parliament. The Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to Parliament, and the ministers hold office as long as they enjoy the confidence of Parliament. Whenever the ministers fail to, have the confidence of Parliament. In that case, a proposal of impeachment is brought against the ministry, and the ministry has to prove it in front of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. If they fail to establish their acceptability, in that case, the whole ministry is bound to, resign. And next one, functions of the councils of ministers. There are certain functions of the council of ministers. It is the responsibility of the council of ministers to formulate concrete proposals for the legislation. It is the responsibility of the council of ministers to aid and advise the president in his or her functions through the prime minister. Some of the most important powers of the council concern the impeachment, means removal from office for misconduct of the president, removal of a judge of the Supreme Court or the High Courts, and amendments of the Constitution. Within the council, the senior ministers with cabinet rank from the cabinet. The cabinet is the nucleus of the council. So it is the responsibility of the council of ministers to influence over other ministers or to consult the cabinet rank ministers. The cabinet is the nucleus of the council. That's why the decision of the council is supposed to be communicated to the cabinet by the council. The council is supposed to communicate the message of the council to the cabinet. And there are, certain points of the council of ministers. What are it? These are the most important part of this is, the president is the head of the state in name only, but the actual power lies with the prime minister and the council of ministers. That's why each and every decision of the prime minister as well as council of ministers is very important. Before taking decision, they consult cabinet. Cabinet means the group of senior ministers responsible for controlling government policy. They are known as cabinet. And portfolio means a particular department of area of responsibility of a member of the executive. This is portfolio. And legislation means the process of making or enacting law. This is known as portfolio. The process of making or enacting law is known as the process of making law or enacting law is known as legislation. This law is known as legislation. And portfolio means a particular department of or area of responsibility of a member of the executive. This is known as portfolio. And legislation means the process of making law or enacting a law is known as legislation. Next point, role in foreign affairs. Role in foreign affairs. The Prime Minister is supposed to establish cordial relations with foreign countries. A number of foreign countries come to talk to Prime Minister regarding bilateral issue, regarding border issue, regarding any crisis of the world. They may come and discuss with the PM or the Prime Minister and can suggest to find out some ideas on behalf of that very country. The head of that country usually comes to visit to our country, India. In that case, the role of the Prime Minister is very important. In that case, the role of the head of that particular country who comes is very important. Both of them come to a conclusion what to do and what not to do. How does he or she establish cordial relations with foreign countries of the world? The Prime Minister, represents India in international forums and conferences. That's why sometimes Prime Minister goes for an official tour or visit, and while attending any conference, the role of the Prime Minister is very important. He or she plans and designs foreign policies for India. Prime Minister puts forward India's options and suggestions on Indian and world issues before world leaders. Prime Minister visits countries to improve India's relations with others and solve issues related to welfare of education, welfare of the nation, welfare of economy, welfare of all-round development. Prime Minister attends the meetings and conferences held by the UN, SARC, the Commonwealth nations, and of course the non-aligned nations as the representative of the country. So this is the most important role of the Prime Minister in foreign affairs. And next one, permanent executives. What is permanent executives? The President, Vice President, and the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers form the political executives. So who forms the political executive? The President, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Council of Ministers, and the Cabinet form the political executives. They are executives who are elected by the people and hold office for a certain period of time. The political executives are guided and assisted by the permanent executives, also known as civil servants. So who are known as civil servants? Those who are permanent executives. They are known as civil servants. They are recruited to the Department of Executive directly by completing the competitive exam or by passing successfully the exam for ICS or IAS or WBCS. Then they join as the civil servants in the Department of Ministry in administrative departments, and they generally they become bureaucrats and works on behalf of the government, looks after the entire process of smooth running governance in the country. They are known as political executives. Political executives are of two types: permanent executives and temporary executives. Permanent executives and civil temporary executives. Permanent and temporary. Who are temporary executives? The ministers, means the persons who become minister, the person who becomes members of parliament by the direct vote of the people, and then become minister and help the government in smooth running the country. They are known as temporary political executives. Why? Because at any time the Prime Minister can suggest the President of India to dismiss that minister. So the minister can be dismissed at any time. That's why these political executives are known as temporary political executives. But who are permanent political executives? IAS officer, WBCS officer, bureaucrats, or administrative, officers of the government of India or the government of any states. They are known as, permanent executives. One government may fall, the another government can be formed with another political parties. But permanent executives, they keep on working under different governments, under different ministry, under different political parties. They are supposed to continue their work. They are known as civil servants. They are government employees. Civil servants are government employees. They are recruited directly, and after having passed the competitive exam, they are recruited, and then they are appointed, and then they are paid their monthly salary as per their responsibilities and as per their posts. They don't belong to any political party. They are selected on the basis of their performance at the Indian Public Service Commission and Examination. They can belong to the Indian Administrative Service, the Indian Foreign Service, or the Indian Police Service, means IPS. Indian Police Service, IPS. After having passed IPS exam, the person can become SDPO, SP, and later, Commissioner of Police, Assistant Commissioner of Police, like that. So these are the most important political executives. They are known as permanent political executives because they cannot be dismissed from their works until and unless an instance of dishonesty is established against their names. Up to this, my dear students. Thank you.